Hello and welcome to episode 10, the latest United Talk podcast. We've now reached double figures on the episodes and we're now up to episode 10, so things are starting to settle down smoothly, but we're always keen to expand our listener base as much as possible, as you all know, so don't forget to tell your friends about us, and you can always help United Talk out by retweeting and sharing our content as much as possible, and that would be really appreciated by me and Jordan. As always, just before we start, remember to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram as well, and tweet us your thoughts on this episode. We're always keen to hear your thoughts on what we've discussed. So let's just get started. I hope you all enjoy the episode. Just a key point: if you are listening to the podcast after the Tottenham game, then just if you would like to hear our thoughts on the Huddersfield game, then skip to around the 25-minute mark for the Huddersfield preview. But if not, if you listen before, then the key topics that we're going to discuss today are United's 4-0 win at Yeovil, and we're going to have a section on Jose Mourinho following his contract extension, and then we're going to look ahead to Tottenham away on Wednesday night, and then Huddersfield at home on Saturday. So to start, United advanced through to the fifth round of the FA Cup on Friday night following a 4-0 win at Yeovil. Funnily enough, the game actually panned out exactly how I forecasted it on last week's podcast. Me and Jordan had a prediction, and I went for the optimistic choice in a 4-0 win, which did actually happen, but ironically I even said that we'd score just before half time and then score 3 in the second half, which happened as well, so maybe I should have put the lottery on after that, but I didn't. But yeah, Jordan, what did you make of the performance on Friday night?
Yeah, it was an efficient performance, professional performance, and it was a tough first about 20-25 minutes or so, but United had a couple of careless players, I think, on the pitch on Friday night, maybe playing for their careers really at the club. When you think of Darmian, he springs to mind straight away, and he was quite poor, I thought. But it was a good performance, and we're into the next round, so you can't really complain. And Alexis Sanchez was fantastic.
Yeah, as we predicted, Mourinho picked a very strong squad and team. Managed to rest the spine of our team with De Gea, Jones, Pogba and Martial all being rested and left at home, which is a good bonus ahead of Wednesday night. But it was nice to see the likes of McTominay, Romero, Lindelof and Rashford all getting some minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. I love Scott McTominay. I think he's a top player. Doesn't have the best of games, but I think I said last week it was a great chance for Rashford to regain that confidence. I said he'd score.
You did, yeah.
And he did. So
yeah.
I thought he had a decent game. Linked up quite well with Sanchez. I think that front three of Mata, Sanchez and Rashford worked quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And overall it was a professional performance, a good performance, and we sealed it off in style towards the end with some cool goals.
Yeah, and Friday night was also Alexis Sanchez's United debut. I thought he was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
What did you make of his performance?
You could feel the difference. I know it was only Yeovil we were playing, but you can only play against what you're up against, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
I thought he did well. Lost the ball a few times, a couple of careless passes, but he was settling in. I thought he linked up well with those other two, which is said already, and promising stuff from him. It's just something different. It's a player that we needed. We said last week that it is the perfect signing. So I'm looking forward to more of our new number 7. Was at the heart of the first goal, created most chances in the pitch for us.
Yep, and I think the thing that I was most impressed with regarding Sanchez on Friday was that he was very busy. He had a lot. He had a lot of the ball, even from the left channel. He seemed. I would say he controlled the game for large parts. I think, as you said, he did give it away quite a few times, but I think it's because he was trying something different, something a bit out of the ordinary. He wasn't going for the simple pass. He was trying, long, audacious passes. And you're going to give the ball away every so often, but you don't mind if 1 out of
Yeah.
5 leads or something, and I think he ended up with 2 assists on Friday. Did you get 2?
Um, I wouldn't give the first goal as an assist for him. I saw people trying to claim that on Twitter. But the second one was obviously an assist. Played the ball to Herrera, but he was at the heart of everything. He did try a little bit too hard, maybe, but it's a brilliant signing. It made complete sense, and he played well. And we can't complain. It's a top player that we have, and he got the chance to show a bit of that on Friday, and he was unlucky not to score on a couple of occasions. He had a shot that flew just wide. He had a free kick that was close. I know Luke Shaw said that he put 5 free kicks in a row and into the top corner in training. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see now if he gets control over the free kicks and other set pieces.
Yeah.
I know his corner routines were different to what we usually had. He had a couple of ambitious corners, I suppose you could say. They didn't really come off, but it wasn't the best surface. I know from where the corner was taken from, it wasn't the best. So time will tell how it actually turns out. But I think it's a perfect signing. He doesn't need time to settle in. It seems that he's getting along well with the boys in training, and you can see him linking up with the younger lads and the older lads.
Yeah, I think regarding the set pieces, it's an interesting point, because usually we can't get anything past the front post from the corners. We've tried various different corner takers, and I think for a number of years we've struggled from corners, and even since Ronaldo left, really we haven't had a proper set piece taker. Sometimes it's Ibrahimovic, sometimes it's Pogba, sometimes it's Mata, sometimes it's Young. It could be interesting to see if he does take over the set pieces, and we know he's got the quality of the delivery and the strike. So yeah, he came straight in and took them. So it'd be interesting to see if he does take them permanently. Overall, I thought we managed the game very well. We mentioned last week that although Yeovil are 21st in League 2, it was a potential banana skin. But I thought the players handled the occasion very well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we have to give a shout out to Michael Carrick. He controlled the midfield. I think he kept McTominay in control at times. I thought Herrera was fantastic. I thought he had a brilliant game. First half, he was a little bit quiet, but second half, towards the end of the first half, he really came on, and he scored a lovely goal, and you can see what it meant to him when he goes over to the fans afterwards. So overall, it's a perfect night. Clean sheet, 4 goals. Lingard scores again. Sanchez has a good debut. He was man of the match, and Lukaku scores, and Rashford's among the goals again. So
yeah,
I don't think he can complain.
Yeah, 4 different goal scorers as well from key attacking players. Rashford, Lingard, Lukaku. Now takes Lukaku to 18 for the season. Between Lukaku, Martial, Rashford and Lingard, I was looking today, and they could probably get 70 plus goals between them. And with the addition of Sanchez, our attacking lineup's really starting to look a threat now, isn't it?
Yeah, it does look dangerous. I mean, on paper it is mouthwatering. Alexis Sanchez is for me the second best winger in the league. I've said that for a while, behind Eden Hazard. So we've got a brilliant player in our hands, one of the best in the league, as I said. So it's exciting times for United. I think that's the area we were missing, that sort of flair player in attack. We have obviously got Martial, we've got Pogba, we've got Lukaku, and we've got Rashford, who's in and out of form, and Lingard, who's been fantastic. But it's that type of player, that number 7 that we've missed.
Yeah. So I think all in all, it was a very good win for United. 5th round of the draw coming tomorrow, as we're recording this on Sunday. So apologies if you listen after, but in terms of who would you want, Jordan? Do you want to be home, away, small team, big team?
Well, I'd love it another away tie against the lower league side. Maybe Newport if they get past Spurs in the replay, or I know it's a long trip, but or Wigan, which is relatively close. So, but if we're getting a home tie, I'd rather see one of the bigger sides come to Old Trafford. I mean, Chelsea are steady; they've both won today, so it makes sense.
Yeah, personally, I think after facing Derby and Yeovil, I think I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready for a big team. My personal pick would be Chelsea at home. I think, I really fancy us to beat Chelsea, and after the recent ongoings with Conte and Mourinho, I think that'd be a good tie.
Mhm.
So move on from Yeovil. We're going to talk a bit about Jose Mourinho. A very key topic from this week. Mourinho has now signed a contract extension at United, keeping him at the club until 2020, with the option to extend to 2021. In my opinion, great news for United. But
Yep.
firstly, Jordan, just to get your thoughts, what's your reaction to the news of Jose signing a new contract?
Oh, I mean, I know there's a not a big split, but there's a small split among fans over the thoughts of Mourinho, and people love him, people hate him, but I'm a massive fan. Took me a while to come on to Mourinho in general before he was at United. It was his second spell at Chelsea where I said, you know what, I actually really like this guy, because for years we grew up. And it was always, well, it was for the 4 years he was at the 3.5 years he was at Chelsea. It was Mourinho Ferguson for those years competing for the title, and it was someone that you always hated. You hated to come up against, but he grew on me a lot. And then when that chance came of him becoming manager, there was no one else that was suited to that job. It was the perfect option, and for him to sign a new deal, it's big news after the so-called flirting with PSG a couple of months ago. It's brilliant news for the club.
Yeah, and just to make the point, I think, as you mentioned, there's a small section of our fans, not many,
Yeah.
but especially the media, though. I think he has received a lot of criticism, but for me, he deserves a lot of credit, especially for the last 12 months. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he's worked wonders with his side. I mean, we've seen some of these players under Louis van Gaal who we thought wouldn't be at the club now. Fellaini, Jesse Lingard, even Chris Smalling's come on well. Phil Jones has been a revelation. He's probably been our best defender this season. Rojo, for one, has become an important player, and Valencia at right back, he's nailed down that spot.
Yeah.
So he has worked wonders. He's kept David De Gea. There's rumours that he's going to be getting a new contract, and he's brought in some fantastic players. I mean, if Louis van Gaal was still in charge for that third season, Paul Pogba wouldn't be at this club. Alexis Sanchez certainly wouldn't be at this club now. I doubt Eric Bailly would be. We probably would have signed Sadio Mane, which I wouldn't have been against, because he's a terrific player. But I mean, the difference in standard and quality that we've got under Jose is a lot better, I think.
Yeah, and I think, 2 trophies, 3 if you include the Community Shield. He has brought back the winning mentality to the club, and I'm pretty sure there will be many more to come. As I mentioned before in a previous podcast, this year I think it's a big decision for Mourinho, or it was a big decision, because I think this summer he had to make a decision, because if City win the league by 15 points, which is looking very likely, maybe by not 15, but of a large margin, he could have either, he's got to make the decision, do I cut and run? I can't.
Yeah.
Does he say I can't compete, or does he take a step back and he says, right, I'm going to take Pep on head to head, and I will take this title from City?
I think I know everyone says Mourinho, 3 years he's gone. I feel like it's different with United. He should have had that job when Ferguson left in 2013. For me, it was always a match made in heaven. It was at the time when Ferguson retired, the second best or third best manager in the world. It made sense. We didn't go for him. 3 years later, we got him, and you can see the difference he's made for the club. I mean, the fear factor is back at Old Trafford. People don't want to come to Old Trafford anymore. I doubt it anyway. But I mean, we were unbeaten at home for 40 games before we lost to City. It's the only team we've actually lost to at Old Trafford in his reign.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, he's done really well, and it's been a success so far. And I think it will be different. I think he is here for more than 3 years. I think that he has a project going on here, and he will set it up for the next man. But it's not going to be just 3 years, I don't think.
And as like you said, I think Jose and Woodward and even Ed Woodward deserve some credit because some fantastic players have joined United.
Yeah.
The likes of Ibrahimovic, Pogba, most recently Alexis Sanchez, and Mourinho. He has to have played a big part in their decision to join United because I remember
Exactly that.
Ibrahimovic said he wouldn't join if Mourinho if Van Gaal was still the manager, and like you said, I don't think Pogba or Alexis as well. So although Woodward deserves a lot of credit, I think the stature of Mourinho has brought these players to our club, and I think over the past couple of months we've seen the happier and the more outspoken Jose Mourinho, because the Mourinho that I wanted and the supporters wanted when he joined the club was the arrogant, the cocky,
Yeah.
the very intelligent use of words. And I think in the past couple of months we've started to see that, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean the whole orange thing on Friday, it was.
Yeah, it's
I
great,
mean, he
wasn't
is a man with a wonderful way of words, so
it?
it's enjoyable listening to him. And when he gets going, he gets going. And this whole spat with Conte at the minute is something to look forward to. And at the end of February, that's going to be a cracker at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I totally agree because since he's joined, he's been very stern faced.
Yeah,
Some would say very miserable. Some would say focused, but you want to see the antics of running down the touchline. I want to see it again.
yeah,
I think that is the side of Mourinho that we want to see, and like you say, the orange comment on Friday was brilliant. So I think maybe the new contract is given that some sort of, well, it has to have given an influence because
yeah.
over the past couple of weeks and over the past couple of months he's been a lot brighter. So maybe the contract has been tied up for a few months, and he just seems to be a happier person, and he just seems to be very pleased that he's got the backing from the club.
I think yeah, he's. I mean, he's looked up to at that club by the fans, by the players, even by the hierarchy. So he's one of the best managers in the world. He's probably the most famous manager in the world. Um, probably. I say I think he'll stay. I think it'll be different this at United. I don't mean he'll stay 20, not even 10 years. Like he'll be there maybe 6 years. I feel 5 years. It's different this time, but it's to stabilise this club again before the right man becomes available to lead the club forward. And I mean, for the time being, he is the right man. He's perfect, and he's leading the club in the right direction.
Yeah, and personally, as I said, when Jose joined, I wanted him, after the disappointment of Moyes and after the disappointment
Yeah,
of Louis, we needed someone to stabilise it, as you mentioned, and I said I wanted him long term. He'd only ever stayed at a club for 3 years max, and United, I wanted it to be that club where he stayed long term, and it looks like it's going to be. Maybe we are going to see that because the other day, even when he was talking MUTV following his extension, he said, "Who knows? I may stay. It may stay even longer." So, I truly do believe that if we continue to back him, he will get it right, and he will be successful, and we will be successful under his management. Would you agree with that? I know you've just said that you think he's the right man to take us forward.
yeah. I mean, like as we mentioned as well, he's coming out of his shell a bit more. And that's the man we're looking for. I think it doesn't bother me how he acts because I know, like, we know what he's capable of doing. We know he can win leagues by a comfortable margin. It hasn't been that case this year with Man City being so brilliant. But things are coming together at this club. There's a bit of dead wood that's yet to go. There's players whose contracts are out at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say already he's working on new signings as well. I don't think United will waste time with that this summer. I think because of the World Cup and all. But he is the right man. He's leading the club in the right direction, as I say, and it's going well. They're playing good football. People say that he's very defensive. He's not. He's tactical. He can prepare right for the big games. We haven't won many big games, which is something that he definitely needs to improve on. But everything's going well, and I think that next year we will win the league.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we can try and push City as far as we can. But I think the Champions League is a good thing to look at this season now,
Yeah.
along with the FA Cup. I think the FA Cup's a must-win.
Yeah.
But I think we can do well in the Champions League, and I think a success in that would probably be the semi-finals.
Yeah. Just the one last thing I'd like to emphasise is, for me, and it's the fact that Pep Guardiola's signed 16, I think maybe nearly 17 if Laporte signs, since his arrival at City, which is nearly a full squad, 17 players. It's nearly a match day squad. Jose's only signed 6, I think. So, I mean, it just shows the difference. 11 players, which is a starting 11. I feel if we continue to back Mourinho and back him in the transfer market, then, as you say, we will win trophies. The final point I'd like to make is that, I mean, he wouldn't have signed this new deal if he wasn't promised further funds and further backing.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to be another exciting transfer window this summer. To move on, we'll look ahead to United's next 2 Premier League games this week. It's going to be a big week for United. But as I mentioned before, if you're listening after the Spurs game, then please just skip to the next section where we're previewing the Huddersfield game. So United's next trip is to Wembley to take on Tottenham. A very tough game for United, but one that I am very much looking forward to. Jordan, what's your thoughts and expectations ahead of Wednesday night?
I'm looking forward to it. We haven't had the best record at White Hart Lane, but considering this is at Wembley, we've been quite good at Wembley in the last few years. So I'm quite confident going into this one. I'll probably be a lot more nervous approaching kickoff, but we beat Spurs earlier in the season. I thought we played really well that day. I thought Spurs were quite negative, I think, that day. Maybe both sides were a bit tactical in their ways, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not eager to go for it, I think, but we took it that day at Old Trafford. I know last year we lost there. We lost at White Hart Lane the year before under Van Gaal. So it's Wembley. It's a different stadium. It's a different environment. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. United in good form. Tottenham in pretty good form as well. And I know they've had a couple of slips, but they've been playing quite well recently, especially Harry Kane. I mean, he continues to score goals. It should be a great game. And in terms of importance, it's probably a bigger fixture for Tottenham right now in their battle for top 4. I mean, at the minute you would consider United a cert for top 4 unless we do have a disastrous second half of the season. But in terms of the title, we think it's gone. There's a very slim chance that we can do it. But I mean, if United want to continue to push City all the way, we have to win this game, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, every game we want to win. Every game we have to win. It's a must-win game. It always will be. But yeah, we need to push them as far as we can. Whether the gap's 12 points, 5 points, 15, 20 points, just push them. Try your hardest, show some fight, and we've been doing that. We've been fantastic this month. So far we haven't conceded a goal since the turn of the new year. I think Boxing Day was actually the last day we did concede against Burnley, so I'm quite confident. Martial's had a fantastic month.
Yeah.
He's scored in every Premier League game so far, so I think he'll be back in the side, and I'm looking forward to it, as I say.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's difficult because we're 12 points behind. We've got to win pretty much every game to make it interesting. But I feel if City are the next team to drop points, then only goes to 9. It could be doable. You never know. There's still a long way to go, as we've discussed before. But I think if we do drop points this week and City win, and it goes back to 15 or 13, or it could be. I think we've got to resign to defeat in the title race. I know we have previously, but there's still a long way to go. But I think we've got to win this game. In terms of formation and shape, personnel, what would you like to see on Wednesday night from United?
I'd like to see the 4-3-3. I have a feeling he might stick with the 4-2-3-1, but honestly, I think it'll be 5 at the back. I think it'll be the Valencia and Young
Yeah.
Wing backs, and similar to what we saw at Watford and at Arsenal with Lingard behind Martial and
Yeah.
Lukaku.
And he also played it
Um,
at home against Tottenham as well at Old Trafford.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think he'll stick with that. I think Spurs will probably I think they played three at the back at the weekend. They may stick with that. They might revert back to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. I'm not sure, but I think we might go with the five at the back.
Yeah. I think for me, I think I would agree. I would like to see the 4-3-3. I think that extra midfielder, probably Herrera with Pogba and
Yeah,
Matic
Herrera for me.
would make a good difference. But I think the three at the back or the five at the back, whichever way you look at it, would be a good option because with Kane and Son and Eriksen, they've got a lot of good attacking players, and just to have that extra body at the back, and then play with Martial, Sanchez, and Lukaku, I think would be very threatening on the break. I think that could be a good tactic to go for. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've used that before. I think the three of Lukaku, um, Marcel and Jesse Lingard, and then Pogba getting involved. I think it's something that teams might struggle with. So I agree that pace on the counter, the threat that we have, would probably be our best option against Spurs.
Yeah, and
Um,
obviously major threats from Kane, Son, Eriksen. How do you think we could manage those?
See, I know Harry Kane doesn't have the best record against United, so I think his first goal against us came last season at White Hart Lane. So
Hmm.
usually he's quiet against us, but for me he's probably the best striker in the world at the minute. Um, I love that guy. I think he's unbelievable. So I think Phil Jones and Chris Smalling and whoever's beside them, if we do go with the five at the back, we'll have quite a handful with him and Son. I think Heung-min Son's probably one of the most dangerous players in the Premier League as well. So we need to be careful.
Yeah, and so prediction? Do you think we'll win?
I think we'll win. Tottenham are the side that concede many goals, and neither are we. So I think it'll be. I think maybe 1-0 to United.
Okay. Well, I'm normally fairly optimistic. I don't think I haven't predicted us to not win so far on this podcast, so I think I'll stick with it. I think we might just do a 2-1. Feeling a Sanchez goal. I think the way he played the way he played the other night just was very impressive. But
I don't think he'll start. So
really,
yeah, I don't think he'll start. I don't think he's ready. He hasn't been playing that much, so I think we'll have to wait and see. I think he will go with Lingard, Marcel, Lukaku. I think Sanchez will be brought on from the bench, but I think his first test will be against Huddersfield.
Okay. So, moving on to Huddersfield. In what seems like ages, to be honest, United return to Old Trafford on Saturday for another welcome Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. I know it's as you were away for Christmas. I know it's your first time back at Old Trafford, so that was a long time ago for you. And
yeah, it's been a while.
I think the last time I was there was was it Bournemouth?
Yeah, Bournemouth was for me. Yeah.
Was it Bournemouth back in January? Oh no, not January. No, who was it? I can't think.
Stoke.
Oh yeah, Stoke. Yeah, Stoke on the Monday night. Yeah, Stoke. Yeah, that was last time I was there. I mean, it feels a long time ago. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, it's good. It should be good to be back at Old Trafford on Saturday. In what should be a very exciting day, and one that I'm very much looking forward to, especially if we can get a positive result at Tottenham on Wednesday. If we lose, it won't be as great. But I think if we can, get a draw or even a win, I think that makes Saturday even better because it's a bit of a special day at Old Trafford on Saturday. It's Alexis Sanchez's Old Trafford debut, but it's also the day that Old Trafford will pay tribute to the 60th anniversary of the Munich air disaster. So it could be maybe an emotional day for some supporters. But with the Sanchez debut and the anniversary, it could be a pretty special atmosphere on Saturday, don't you think?
It's a massive game, obviously the 60th anniversary of the Munich air crash. the new number 7, and Huddersfield beat us earlier in the season, so there's a lot riding in this.
Yeah.
Um, we want to chase down the league leaders. It's a team that beat us earlier in the season. It was seems like it was almost their cup final. It was a very frustrating day because I was actually at that game, and I'm looking to get one over on them this time because I'm still annoyed at that game. I mean, Huddersfield played out of their skins that day, and haven't seen anything like it from them this season. So um, I'm hoping we go and smash them.
Yeah. I know there's, in terms of the Munich tribute, I know there's a special tribute
Yeah.
outside the Munich Club on Saturday around 1:45, I think. So if any listeners are at Old Trafford on Saturday, get yourself down. I think it's around the Munich clock, because it's a special part of United's history. And I know the club are handing out a free book regarding it, and a programme, which is a nice touch from the club. But in terms of the game, what are you expecting from United and Huddersfield?
I expect maybe something similar to the game at the Kirklees Stadium, although I don't see us being as poor as we were. I mean, we were in control of the game a lot that day. We just didn't create a lot. I feel that it will be the same. We'll be in control, but we will be creating. We will be scoring. Huddersfield will be looking to catch us on the break again. But the United squad's learned a lot since then. They've changed and they've improved a lot. So I'm fairly confident going into that one. I might not be after the Spurs game. Hopefully I will, but I think we'll go and score a couple of goals against Huddersfield.
Yeah, and I think, if, as we said, if we can get a positive result from Spurs, Saturday could be really, really exciting. But regarding the team, what would your team be on Saturday for Huddersfield?
Um, I'd say he'll revert back to the 4-2-3-1. Considering it's being at home, I think Sanchez will start. It seems like the perfect game to bring him into the Premier League. I think he may test Sanchez out in the right this time, with Martial out in the left, probably Lingard or Mata in the 10, and obviously Lukaku up front. I think obviously you're going to see Pogba and Matic if everything goes well with the Spurs game, no injuries or suspensions, and then a similar back four. I feel like he might bring Shaw in for that game, with Young probably going to play in midweek. But yeah, we'll be at full strength. We don't have many problems at the minute with injuries, so it's tough to choose our best lineup at the minute because everyone's playing quite well.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think my team would be similar to what we've been playing with De Gea, Valencia, Jones, Small and Shaw, Pogba, Matic, and then, as you say, I think if Alexis did play, then maybe him and Lingard would interchange from the right into the number 10. You would expect him to play Martial, but if Martial plays on Wednesday against Tottenham, then he may bring Rashford in for that one. That could be a potential change, and then obviously I'm pretty sure Lukaku will be up front. But yeah, it should be an attacking lineup, and hopefully we'll go out and get some more goals on Saturday, with hopefully a positive result from the Spurs game. So prediction finally for the Huddersfield game?
I hope we hammer them. I'm still waiting on United to hit 6 or 7 this season, but I don't. I mean, we've battered some teams and won 4-0, 4-1 games like that. But I hope it's like that this weekend. But I think I'll go 3-0.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling the same. I think 3-0 as well. Yeah, we'll go 3-0. So I'd like to thank everyone that's listened to the episode. Just to reiterate, please remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and get in touch with the Here United Talk Twitter account, and just give us your thoughts on this week's episode. The Tottenham game, do you think we'll win? The Huddersfield game, and also it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on Mourinho's new contract, because it'd be interesting to see what different fans think, and whether you think he's the right man. Just to mention, as I mentioned last week, we've set up a small donation page for our listeners and fans if you want to donate. to us. All donations go towards our subscription, monthly fees, equipment, technology and more. So if you'd like to make a donation, please take our Twitter account for the link or get in touch with us, and that would be massively appreciated. So we'll be back the same time next week to discuss the results and performances from this week at Tottenham and Huddersfield, and then we'll look ahead to Newcastle away, which is the following week. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.